Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kouga Talk. Today, we are very privileged to have with us Executive Mayor Hattingh Bornman. Hattingh, welcome. If I understand correctly, Sunday it was 100 days in office. I cannot believe it. So thank you very much for making the time available, and we'd love to hear what happened to you in this last 100 days.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be here with you. It has been a action-packed 100 days, and in some cases it feels very long, and others very short. So it's a privilege to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much. I think to start off with, you were deputy mayor, but still stepping up and becoming mayor, it must be daunting to some extent. And I mean, we can be honest amongst one another and say that you had some big shoes to fill. How would you describe those first few days?
Yeah, definitely. We're obviously very involved and knew what was going on, or I thought I knew what was going on. Until Rachel left, and he did leave some big shoes, and so. Yeah, in some cases I didn't get more busy necessarily, but the weight of the decisions and every day-to-day calls that I have to make is a lot bigger, obviously, than it was before. But something that I've been enjoying this last few days of the last 100 days, just because I really see the impact of those decisions, and you can see it very directly, and that's a big responsibility, but also a big privilege, because it impacts people's lives directly, and we hope that it impacts people's lives in a positive way directly. Yes, so yeah, it's a privilege.
I think another very significant thing, I mean, if we go back almost, I don't want to say to the day, but very close to when you took over, we started getting amazing rainfall in the whole of the Kouga, or actually the whole of the Eastern Cape region, to the point where we actually have our dams overflowing at this point. So, I mean, that's quite a significant thing, I mean, for the municipality.
Yeah, it's wonderful, because for the last 6, 7, 8 years, we've been spending a lot of money on water security and making sure that we have water in our taps. And I think what people don't realize very often is that very close neighboring municipalities like Makanda Makana and so forth, they have water in their dams, but they don't have water in their taps, and just because of bad administration and so forth. And here, even though we had at some stage only 4% of water in our dams, we always had water in our taps, and that's something that we can really be proud of, but also is really a big responsibility, and also shows the amount of money and time and effort that we put into water security, making sure that we do have that, the quality water. And then, but now it is such a big relief, because we can actually now start spending money on other things like roads that needs a crazy amount of money and effort into getting that fixed.
I think one of the first things that pop up in everyone's minds with the rain is water restrictions. Mm-hmm. So what is happening with the water restrictions?
Yeah, so unfortunately it's not all in our hands, because we buy water from our dams, we buy water from the metro, and they haven't lifted the drought rates. So we are ready once they say that drought's been lifted. We will then go to another level of our tariffs, and which will ease the burden on ratepayers in terms of water usage and so forth. And I'm very reluctant to say the drought is over, which it is over, but it's such a big we need to have use the water so responsibly. Otherwise, I don't want to be in the same situation in 5 or 6 years' time.
I think it's human nature to some extent to quickly forget the hardship you went through.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the dangerous thing here is for everyone to think, yes, there is a lot of water, but that water needs to last for a very, very long time.
Yes.
And one other thing, I think it's Mpofu Dam that still needs to fill up all the way.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Sorry, I didn't say that. Yes, yeah, that's the biggest thing, keeping the metro from declaring the drought over is because the Mpofu Dam is still only at 28%. It was this morning. So while the Kouga Dam is overflowing on the Gamtus Valley side, they have lifted the water restrictions. But on this side, the two dams that feed Jeffreys Bay, Humansdorp and St. Francis, it's still not lifted because of that. So the total dam levels are not high enough yet.
Okay. Well, Maya, I think we've talked enough about other things. I think it's time that you take us through these 100 days. I mean, what did you experience? What was the highlights? What was the lowlights? What did you feel you achieved? Is there anything else that you feel you'll do in the next 100 days?
Yeah, thanks. So ask questions if I leave anything out. But I think for me, there were basically three main priorities when I started. And then quite a few others came along as I started. But I really wanted and still want the municipality to be open and more accessible and more open to the public to deal with us, for our customers to deal with us. So it's important for me that when somebody comes into the office to pay a account or to submit a plan or to do whatever business they need to do with the municipality, that we're open and friendly and accessible to them. And we weren't where I wanted us to be, and we're still not there. We still have phone lines ringing when people phone in, and there's still some issues and challenges in terms of our general customer care, but I think there's a big step forward in terms of that, and that's why we introduced the First Thursdays campaign, and we had our first one last month in Jeffreys Bay, and this month we had one, last week actually we had one in Humansdorp. Next month we'll be in St. Francis, and December we'll be in Hattingh. And then we'll rotate from there on, we'll rotate through our towns as we go on, every month in a different place. But that's just to be more accessible, so that people can walk in without an appointment and sort out whichever issue they want sorted, and all our departments are there. So whether it's a finance query, a water leak, a pothole, a town planning issue, whatever it is, it can be sorted out all at one spot right there. And
you there yourself as well?
I'm there, my whole mayoral committee is there, our municipal manager is there, all the directors are there, managers are there, from them down and so forth, and everybody that presses a button to get anything done is there.
So that's very important for people to know.
Yes, so and that's a huge win for me, because I think that is just the place that I want us to be, where it's open and people are able to sort things out. So that's one of the things that I think was important for me, and I want us to be more of that in all our offices, even on normal days, which aren't First Thursdays. So that was a big priority for me. Then secondly, I went on a sort of 15 wards in 15 days campaign.
I saw that, yeah.
Which was quite hectic, and I visited every single community in the space of 3 weeks, and it was very enriching. I think of myself as somebody who really knows the municipality well in every corner and everywhere, but still there's places that I saw things that it's not right. It's not the way that I would like our municipality to look like. The way people live is not what I would like to see in our municipality. And there's huge needs in our municipality. And there's places where roads are falling apart, but there's also places where people don't have toilets and water and electricity and things that's just basic human needs are not met yet. So it was good for me, because I saw all of that, and I know exactly what I need to prioritize in terms of spending our money, in terms of the IDP process coming up now. I can make sure that we have all of those priorities in the IDP for next year's budget, and so forth. So that just gives me a little bit more almost ammunition to make sure that we spend our money in the right places. And I can understand also when a councillor fights with me for budget, I can understand, and I can say, yes, I know, I was there, I saw that, I know that we need to spend money.
You understand where they're coming from, yeah.
Yes, so I have a better understanding also for the community in terms of their needs and what they want. And many of these things are very difficult to achieve. We don't have budget for the majority of the things, of the bigger things. some of them are very difficult to prioritize. Some of them are not even municipal responsibilities. It's either the Department of Health or Education or whichever other provincial department. And some of these things are very easy, small things that people need. A speed hump, because kids get run over. I mean, that's such a ridiculous problem to have. So small things like that is very easy, and prioritizing on a different level to get those smaller things done quickly, which is also obviously good to sort out, to be able to sort out quickly for communities.
But I think hats off to you for actually visiting all those communities and being there, because I think that's step number one. It's like you say, actually seeing it with your own eyes and realizing the problems.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, and I love engaging with our communities all over, and I've a weird fondness of people shouting at me.
Okay.
So people do fight with me often about all sorts of things that they feel needs to be sorted out now.
Yes.
Which is great, and I understand the frustration, and I understand the need, and so I don't worry about that, because it's real. It's a real need. It's a real need, and I need to prioritize that. Somewhere we'll have a budget or a bit of money left here or there, or we need to move things around, and then I know, yes, these guys still need this. It must go there.
Yeah.
Whether it's house roofs that's leaking on Samaweti in Oyster Bay, or Pelsrus houses are falling apart. The roofs are all rusting because the Department of Human Settlements built houses with normal stainless steel roof sheets and didn't think it was at the sea, and now all of the houses are leaking. And today I met somebody that said, yes, I want to fix people's roofs. And I can say yes, because I was there. I can say yes, please go there. We have a huge need for that. Please assist us, because we don't have the budget for it. We can't fix private properties from our budget, although people expect that. We just can't do it. But it doesn't mean it's not a huge need. So yes. And there it's immediate to make that connection, and now now we can start implementing that. So for all sorts of reasons, it was important for me to visit all the wards and all the communities and speak to people and hear their frustrations, but also hear their good stories. And there's a lot of good things happening where we have had huge successes, and where people's lives are actually better, and where we could switch on electricity, and people now have lights who never had electricity before, and water, and so forth and so forth. So that in that sense, that was really good in terms of knowing what's going on. Then a third thing for me in this 100 days that's very, very clear, and I don't think anybody will doubt this, is in terms of roads.
Yes, I just wanted to say about the roads.
So roads is a massive
and the rains didn't help. I mean, we just spoke about it yesterday. We're also blessed with the rains, but the rains also brought potholes.
Yeah, and so I think we should start it when Jeffreys Bay and Humansdorp and St. Francis and these towns and the Gamses Valley, when it was started in 50, 60 years ago, there were no roads. There were just little gravel roads, and then for people to sell their plots, they just put a little bit of tar on it. And since then, it was never properly maintained ever. Here and there, a little bit of resealing was done every now and then. So there were no foundations, no proper road construction happening. And it's all happened. They were all built more or less the same time, and now with the rains and all of that, they're all starting to fall apart at the same time. And so I think that's just a little bit of context that people don't realize, our residents don't realize always. It doesn't mean, it's not an excuse, it's just, that's just the reality. That's just why everything's falling apart at the same time. And then, but now the plan moving forward is that I sort of launched the Rescue Our Roads program, which got mixed feelings from the public, but some of the things that I realized, and we invited engineers and anybody that wanted to get involved in our road rescue program was there, and it was really a constructive meeting. I felt there was some good ideas in terms of being more productive, everything from our pothole teams being more productive to the way that we reseal, to getting a plan on the table, and we now have for the first time ever, I think, an actual plan on the table, that we know every single kilometer of road, what the state of that road is like, what we need to do to revive it, or to fix it and maintain it. And so we can now have a document that we can take to the bank, and we can actually say, listen, we need
money,
400 million rand to fix our roads. So and there's also, then that brings into play a whole other process in fixing our roads, which is finding funding, because we don't have internal. Currently we're fixing we're using about 10 million rand a year to fix roads, and that's only if we reseal tar roads, that's only about 8 to 9 kilometers of road.
Yeah.
So and that's not sustainable. We'll never catch up if we do it like that. We'll never catch up on the 280 plus odd kilometers that we have of tar road. So we need to find outside sources of funding, and we're looking into loans. We're looking into some other investment, some cheaper loans from abroad, and there's a few really cool options that we're exploring, and hopefully can put quite a bit of money into our roads very soon, just to get ahead of the curve, because just fixing potholes is
you'll never catch up.
We're just throwing money into a bottomless pit at the moment. But we have to also make it safe for residents to ride. So
it's a bit of a catch-22.
So it's such a difficult position. But I think I just want residents to be aware that I drive the same roads. I share the exact same frustrations. We were opening the Milkwood Trail, the really cool Milkwood Trail, the other day, and we had this sort of procession walking down the road to the library from the Shell Museum. And as we were walking, I was walking through a pothole. I stepped in a pothole, and I was thinking, man, I'm walking through potholes. It's so ridiculous. I felt embarrassed because this whole procession is walking with me, and we're all walking through the same old. And I also drive these roads, and I have to share the same frustration as residents do. And I really want to fix these roads very soon, because I do understand the economic benefit that proper roads bring to our towns. I understand just basic safety, the wear and tear that it brings on cars, and all of those things. I do understand, and I have the same urgency to get it fixed. The biggest issue is literally just finances. We can talk about that at a later stage if you want of a whole financial our financial situation, which is stable. We do have a stable we are stable financially. We're actually in a good position, but we don't have any extra funds. We just have enough money to sort of keep the lights on and sustain our current operations. So all the extra money that we do have, we do try to put into roads, but that, like I said, that is only about 10 to 15 million rand a year. So it becomes that becomes the biggest hindrance in fixing the roads quickly. That was sort of the second thing that was identified. So it was just better communication, then roads, and then the third thing is electricity, which is obviously, again, also from an economic development point of view, a huge priority that I think it needs to be addressed as soon as possible.
And I know the renewable energy plans are on the table.
Yes, so we're finalising. I had a meeting this morning with our team, and they're finalising that plan, and should be on my desk next week for me to have a sort of a first look over it, and I want to have it to have a final document in November, so then we can actually take that to investors. There's loads of investors that want to come invest in energy in Kouga because we are renewable minded, and there's some good developments in Municipality to create sort of a renewable energy hub, and we've got plans for a 20 megawatt solar plant there with battery storage, and getting our own infrastructure off of Eskom and onto renewable energy, solar, and so forth, and then also just getting our infrastructure to a place where we can start load shedding ourselves. Then we can decide when lights are on and off, and not Eskom, but they can just tell us how much energy we need to shed, and we can decide how and when and where. And those type of things. There's a lot of maintenance things that we need to get in place for our internal structures, like Theo explained to you previously as well. So I'm very excited about our energy plans, and that's a high priority, again, because it brings so much economic development opportunities with it. And that's why I identified that as one of my three main priorities.
But again, that's just like the roads. It's something that's quite a high value ticket. It's something that you can't just pinch off a little bit of money. You need a big investor or quite a few big investors to actually make it work and make it happen.
Yes. The nice thing about electricity, though, is that it is an income generating thing. So unlike roads, where you just put money and you don't get any money from it, there's no road tax or anything like that. With electricity, people actually buy from us, so we can. There's actual transactions, there's money involved, and we can actually get investors for that. And there are a lot of people that want to invest in our energy solution. So because of the fact that there's money to be made, and we will be able to get and to buy or to sell or to build a plant that at the end, for the end user, for a resident, will be cheaper than what we're currently paying for Eskom, which is where we want to be. We don't want to be reliant on Eskom, who ups their rates by 18% every year, and it's just unaffordable. We can't expect our residents to continually pay more and more for electricity while load shedding is getting worse and worse.
Maya, something else that I noticed, there was also quite a few title deeds and things that was handed over, and I think quite a significant number, over 1,000 people received title deeds to their houses. That must have been exciting as well.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's really wonderful to just, I sat with the old lady that was blind in her house, and she never owned her own house, and she's been living in this house for about 10 years, and being able to give her a title deed is just rewarding to be able to know that she was living in a shack before. Now she officially owns her own house, and she's got something to leave behind for her kids and so forth. So it's really rewarding. We had an opportunity to give out in I think 7 of our 9 towns title deeds. So it's really all over. And there's a whole system with RDP housing. You can't give a person legally a title deed before 8 years has passed. So that's why that process is there. And then also they can't sell and rent or anything like that in that first period. But now she's got a title deed. It's now officially her house.
Yes.
It doesn't belong to the government anymore. And that's just a legacy that leaves behind.
That's exciting. I think that must be one of the nicest things for you to do.
Yeah, there's always nicer things like that. It's really great to be involved in, and for me things like that and switching on electricity where people have never had that is great, and that's where decisions that really improves people's lives are wonderful to be made. Yeah.
Maya, I think going a little bit into the future. There's also quite a few sporting events happening in Kouga in the future, in the close future. And I know there's myself loving, to be out on my motorbike. I know there's a world record attempt that you guys are planning. Share a little bit more with us about that.
Yeah, so Horatio always wanted Kouga to be the events capital of South Africa.
Yes, I remember that.
And it is. I think we have established something in that line. Although we're not branding ourselves like that, because I think it's another discussion around tourism, but branding, not necessarily branding Kouga, but branding our towns, Jeffreys Bay and St. Francis and the Campus Valley and the Baviaanskloof. We need to brand our areas from a tourism point of view. But there's so many events coming that's really exciting. We have, as you might know, the WSL event for next year just because of the Olympics. Not because of all the other rumors.
That's sad for everyone, yeah.
Yeah, not because of all the other rumors, but just because of the timing of the Olympics, and they couldn't fit it in the tour schedule, which is very sad for our town. We're working very hard to get it back in 2025, and I think we should be able to. But there's still some work to be done in terms of that. But that's a very positive. But now in losing that, we did gain 3 other major events, international events, which weren't on the cards, and I'm very excited about. And the one is the largest motorcycle rally or convoy that in the world will be here, and I'm really excited about that. There'll be, I think, 4,800.
I read something like that. That's incredible. I can't even comprehend for almost 5,000 motorcycles.
I met this morning with a guy. He said they're going to drive, and I don't know how much of this I'm allowed to say, but it's out now anyway. So the 4,800 motorcycles will be driving in an 8-kilometer convoy.
Jeez.
And there's so many regulations around what it takes for them to have a world record. They have to be a certain... they have to be sort of 2 meters apart and driving in a certain formation and all sorts of things like that. For 8 kilometers, the convoy is going to be, and they drive for a certain amount of kilometers.
And that's happening in Kouga.
That's happening in Kouga. They're going to be at Mentorskraal is going to be their base, and they're going to drive on the N2, and they're busy with permissions to close the whole N2 and things like that. So it's really exciting that is happening here in Kouga. So that's happening in February, and the whole event around the actual convoy is happening at Mentos. So the second thing that is really exciting about the events that's coming is the DP Tour, the Old European Tour event that was supposed to only be a once-off last year is now coming back, or this year, is now coming back next year in March, and that's a huge international event which attracts a lot of tourists into our town. It's the St. Francis Links, and we're very happy and very proud that they are coming back. And excited to have them here. And then the third thing is there's a very big triathlon event coming here, similar to the Ironman. And it's a similar organization than the Ironman. It's very big in Europe and South America, and they are coming here for the first time, for having their first event in South Africa, or in Africa. Will be here in Jeffreys Bay, and it's Ironman distances. It's it's 2K swim, or the 70.3 distances, which they call the middle distance, and they bring in international athletes. And so there's a huge international field, and then we're hoping to grow that event over the next 3 years, growing that into a big event similar to the Ironman here in town, which is very exciting. I'm very excited about that.
Geez, that's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm training for that.
Okay, great.
So that's great.
Maya, thank you very much. I think the first 100 days were definitely extremely eventful. And I think if we look at the blessing of the rain, I think that's also to an extent a blessing on your leadership for Kouga. How do you see the next 100 days? Is there anything specifically you'll be focusing on? I know you've got a lot. It's not like there isn't things that need work, but I mean, is there anything specific that you feel called to focus on for the next 100 days?
Yeah, I think I can talk for the next 3 hours about what is coming up and what we still need to do, and things that we still that we have done and I haven't touched on. But I think there's very specific things. I think I have a very good idea of everything that's going on in all 9 our towns. But now putting specific projects in place, identifying, getting money first of all for our roads is priority. But then there's specific infrastructure priorities that we have. The Mimosa pipeline, for example, that's going to start building now. Our resealing projects continuing, getting an actual plan on the table for renewable energy and taking that to the market, if I can say it in abbreviations, and very, very specific projects that we have. We need to do quite a bit of work on our sewer network. We need to do quite a bit of work on our electricity network. There's some very specific things that will be rolled out in terms of our safety and security plan with law enforcement and so forth. We're upgrading our camera network, and there's quite a few very exciting things around that, and being very specific in projects that we've identified that is priority, and I've got a very long list of things that needs to be done, and it's just critical that we prioritize them very specifically and put budget to them, and those that we don't have budget, we need to find money quickly for that.
Well, Maya, thank you very much. I mean, I can only wish you the best for the next 100 days, and I think just from my side personally, thank you very much for all the hard work and the effort. I mean, we see you out there. I mean, if you look on Facebook, there's almost a post every day of something that's happening and something that's been identified. And I think taking an active approach, I think this is what it feels like. I mean, you almost, not that you did a lot in the first 100 days, but you also used that to to get to know the town even better and to see what do we need to do in the future. So thank you very much from that. And I think from all residents of Kouga, we only wish you the best for the future. And I hope we can talk in another 100 days and catch up and see, what happened to Kouga, and hopefully everything is just even more better.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks, Rieghard. It's like I say, it's a real privilege to be here and to be the mayor. I definitely don't take it lightly, and it's a huge responsibility, and I think it's critical for us to work together. And I've said this from the beginning. We cannot, as a municipality ourselves, fix all the problems in Kouga, and there's so many things that's beyond the municipality's control and sphere of influence and abilities. So we need to, as a collective, stand together, and I really believe that we have everything that is needed in Kouga that can make that is just an example of what South Africa can look like, and where communities buy into the bigger picture, and where municipality and business can work together, and where NGOs fix people's roofs and all sorts of things like that we just, as a community as a whole of Kouga, work together and bring out what makes South Africa a great place to live, and we have all of that here, but it takes us all to work together to get that done. So I'm very excited about that. There's so many amazing people in Kouga that's got that same vision and want to get that done. So I'm very thankful for those and it's wonderful to work with them.
Maya, thank you very much for all your time being here, and I think to everyone watching and listening, thank you again. And I think the invitation is there. If you want to engage with a municipality, make use of it, phone the call center, or alternatively make use of that first Thursday and have an opportunity to discuss your problems, concerns, or even suggestions for improvements firsthand with the people who make the decisions. So thank you very much, and we'll see you again. Have a wonderful afternoon.